Aggressive DUI lawyer, Jackson, Mississippi. Call 601-773-7777.
Welcome to Ask a Lawyer with attorney Joey Franks at the Franks Law Firm in Jackson, Mississippi. His motto is more for you and less for us.
Any chance my case will be dismissed?
There's always a chance of that, and there's several places that the chance can pop up. They can fail to prosecute for, if it takes them over a year generally, then you might have a right to dismiss for failure to prosecute. If you show up and the police officer who arrested you or pulled you over isn't there, then you have a right to dismiss based on the failure and inability to confront your accusers. If someone from the crime lab does not show up, the case may be dismissed because if you're charged with drug possession and they can't verify through scientific testing and testimony that those are actually controlled substances, then your case may be dismissed. If the state fails to meet its burden of proof, then I can move to have it dismissed for failure to meet that burden. So there's always the chance that it can be dismissed. And I can't sit here and say that it's something to just bet all your chips on, but when it's a win, it's a real win when you can get something dismissed.
Do they ever make a plea offer?
Quite often, yes. And you have to ascertain the situation. You want to know whether or not their officers are there, whether or not they have their ducks in a row. Because if they're missing some part of their case, it might be best not to take a plea deal and go and try it and say they can't meet their burden of proof. However, sometimes the police officer's done their job to a T and they have a very, very strong case, in which case we can try and work something out before we go to trial. And that's usually done through some kind of a plea deal or plea offer, as you said. And it can vary widely depending on the charges, the individual, the officer, and the prosecution, and for that matter, the judge.
So is it considered a criminal trial?
Absolutely. Even a speeding ticket or a seatbelt ticket is considered a criminal trial if you take it to trial. So a DUI absolutely is a criminal trial. You are being charged with a crime under the laws of the state of Mississippi.
Is the trial in county court or district court?
Well, generally what happens in Mississippi, the initial trial will be held in either a municipal court. That's if you were pulled over within the city limits of a town. Like if I was in Jackson, I would go to the Jackson Municipal Court. However, if you're outside the city limits, then your trial will likely be held at the Hinds County Justice Court. So the Justice Court will control outside of the city limits. If you pled no contest or you were found guilty and you wanted to appeal, then that would go up to the county court in the county that it's in. And if there's no county there, then it would go up to if there's no county court there, I think only 19 counties in the state of Mississippi actually have county courts, then you would actually go up to the circuit court in the event they didn't have a county court.
How long does a DUI trial normally last?
A DUI trial normally lasts the better part of an hour. Sometimes they can go on for 2 or 3 hours, especially if you're starting to get into the felony level ones. The felony level ones, in fact, normally go for days. 2 to 3 days would probably be the minimum you would book off for either a DUI third offense, DUI fourth offense, or subsequent, or aggravated DUI trial. But as far as your justice court, municipal court, or even your county court trials where it's just in front of the judge, they generally last somewhere, I think an hour would be a fair range to put it.
Are subpoenas ever issued?
They are usually issued by the state. They are trying to call all their witnesses in and have them appear. So they may subpoena somebody else that saw an individual. And to be honest, usually when there's a DUI trial, the fewer people that saw it or the fewer witnesses that appear, the better off it is for the person charged. Every once in a great while, you'll have a very credible witness that's for them that you may want to subpoena to trial. But that's a risk you take also, because if you start subpoenaing people that you think are on your side, they start seeing a constable or a sheriff roll up with a subpoena. They start getting nervous and things like that. It's much better if you can get them to come on their own free will and accord, as opposed to trying to legally wrangle them into the courtroom. Leave that for the prosecutor. Let the prosecutor do all that dirty work if they want to.
What should I wear in court?
The best you can. If you got a three-piece suit, wear a three-piece suit and look better than a lawyer if you can. If you can't afford it, and I understand everybody cannot, you got a nice pair of jeans and a nice pair of shoes and a nice button-down shirt, wear it. The better you look, the better off you are. I've in fact sat there with judges who have said to me that looking at one client that they're dressed well, you think, well, maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And you look at somebody that shows up with holes in their pants and a t-shirt and flip-flops, you think, okay, this guy's probably had several chances. Let's not worry about that and just rule against him. So always appear your best in a courtroom, no matter what your best may be. If all you have is holey breeches and a beat-up shirt, that's all you got, I understand that. But if you got anything better, think of this as your church clothes plus. If you got some church clothes, put a little bit more to make it a little bit nicer if you can on there. And that's how you need to appear in court.
Is this going to be on my record?
If you're found guilty, absolutely. If you're found not guilty, it won't necessarily go on your driving record, but a background search would still reveal the arrest that was made. That's why it's important to get your even the arrest expunged. If you're convicted, certainly you can get it expunged later if you meet certain criteria, but absolutely it's going to be on your record any which way you cut the pie, and I always strongly advise people to get it expunged as soon as possible, one way or the other. But yes, it will be on your record as far as your traffic violations go, and it will also be on your record as far as a background search goes.
Thanks for listening to Ask a Lawyer with attorney Joey Franks at the Franks Law Firm in Jackson, Mississippi. Call attorney Franks at 601-773-7777. His motto is more for you and less for us.